Actually, NASA. This is one of the towers that got us to safety among the stars. That elevator shaft will take us deeper inside NASA. Might need to work through some rubble. Let's talk. When you have time, of course. Excuse me. What's wrong with jetpacks all of a sudden? Hey, Captain. Can I talk with you for a bit? Never mind. Sorry. I'm thinking of something else. Yes, Captain. This is amazing! The Unity! The multiverse? This is everything, and more! Literally! No kidding. Think of the dissertations. Boundless topics, no bounds. Except the books, they're bound. This explains so much, though. They're disorganized, petty, weird, and also deeply fascinating at the same time. Because they are just people. We never rule that out, but it feels so good to know we weren't fighting against robot alien ghost gods or something. True. We need to approach this critically and carefully. We can't just jump in. Or, I mean, we could, I guess. But it all comes back to this. We don't know what will happen if you enter the Unity. You might lose yourself or become a two-headed space shark. There are too many variables. That's a valid concern. But at the same time, none of us would be here if we weren't willing to take those risks. Of course, at the end of the day, it's your choice. But I will say this. Our entire purpose in Constellation is to explore. Why would we stop now? I'm with you. I'm not gonna hold you back. But if you know, become evil or whatever, I'm also not gonna have your back. Anytime. The possibility of turning evil aside, I appreciate you taking the lead on this. You're guiding Constellation to new frontiers, new discoveries, and we should all follow your example. On that note, there's something else I'd like to discuss with you, if you have time. It's not on the scale of entering the Unity, but it is tangentially related. Thanks. This has been swirling in my brain goo for a while now. So, I've been pondering over what's happened and what it all means. And I've got a favor to ask. A teensy-weensy favor. About the size of a plank length, really. I think it's time I joined you in the physics-bending powers business. See if one of those temples works for more than just you. Marvelous. I'm glad you're as gung-ho about this as I am. As it so happens, I've already talked to Vladimir. Seems our eye in the sky is back up and running. He's sent me the coordinates for the temple already. We just have to visit. How terrible it must have been for them to watch others escape while they realized it was over. Looks like the lift is offline. Maybe we can restore power. Let's look around. If you're trying to impress me, first of all, nice. Second of all, don't die. Pardon me. Was that your stomach? Quit it! Really looks like this one almost made it to launch. Wonder what the final problems were. What if we leave a few things here and make a second trip? Preparation area. I can't imagine how tense and chaotic it must have been.
Station log. Dr. Judith Tatian. The recent delivery from Mars is unsettling. I was expecting rock samples or maybe fossils of microbial life. Instead, Dr. Victor Isa comes with 2 members of the military. Everything they brought back is under wraps. What could a theoretical physicist need with a sample from Mars? Station log. Dr. Judith Tatien. I've been trying to cozy up to Dr. Isa, Victor, to see what is going on. His team has completely commandeered one of the labs with those 2 military handlers, checking who comes in and out. I joked that maybe he found a little gray man and was doing an autopsy, and he grew very pale. 2 days later, he sends me a request. Station log. Dr. Judith Tatien. I have never been so nervous since I defended my dissertation. 4 hours talking to Victor and his team about theoretical metals, atomic bonding, even a half-hour divergence into magnetism that I'm pretty sure was to throw me off the trail of what we were actually talking about. Then, I got to see the lab. I don't know how much I should say, but the periodic table just got thrown out the window.
Looks like a structural collapse of the underlying strata. Typical of Karst topography. They had a museum, but this whole place is a museum now. Anyway, looks like an exit at the end of the hall.
Came from.
There's something wrong with the math? I think it's quite straightforward.
That's not what I'm asking. We've had no success extracting even a sample of material from the object. No explanation for the gravitational effects, no motion graph to explain its harmonic frequencies. I can't even establish a melting point.
Judith.
But you've had me building these prototype colliders for months. And now you want me to pump helium-3 into it based on this equation you've written on a goddamn napkin?
I just need you to trust me.
I have been trusting you. We keep slamming our heads against a brick wall, getting nothing. And you keep coming up with something new to try, like you know what's going to happen. Where are you getting your information, Victor?
I'm sorry, Judith. Look, not here, okay? Somewhere off base. I'll tell you everything. But I'm not lying, okay? We're going to discover something important here. I promise.
Like this across the globe, scientists figured out how to save our species. These are the heroes. Final days of humanity on Earth must have been a special sort of hell for hopeful scientists. got a minute? Of course. The reality of exploration is the balancing of supplies. Carrying a lot. Do you want to take a moment to shuffle things around? Seems clear. Well, back to business. Definitely takes after this side of the family. imagine if they hadn't been able to convince people to invest this much. I wonder if humanity would still be here.
Project Log. Dr. Victor Isa. We turned on the prototype today. The gravitational field around it began to fold as we long suspected. Complete reversal of gravitational pull was observed on dozens of loose objects around the lab. I'm setting up a meeting with the directors to propose a larger test. The prototype proves we don't need the original anymore, but further work is going to have to take place in space. Somewhere with abundant helium-3 and with a civilian partner. Someone with access to large-scale...
Project Log. Dr. Judith Tatien. I watched the gravjet tests from the moon today. It was the first time we were able to talk to the team at Nova Galactic directly. So many things were under wraps before, but now everyone wants all the publicity they can get. I'm already seeing proposals for manufacturing hundreds of drives. Expeditions to Alpha Centauri and beyond. It's also overwhelming and worrying. It could take years, decades, before we know what all the side effects of operating a grav drive can be. But no one wants to hear that right now. Like a bunch of pioneers racing towards the edges of the frontier without knowing about the grizzly bears in the mountains.
The artifact isn't far now. But look at all this stuff. Simply astounding.
I never actually got to visit your labs back when we were working on the grav drive projects.
Seems like ancient history now. Only thing we're doing these days is launching weather satellites.
Guess this is as good a retirement as any. Now, Project Demeter, you want our help manufacturing scanners to better track these new meteorological patterns we're seeing.
Our guess is that the poles might be naturally shifting, causing some gravitational fluctuations that are throwing off our old models.
Why do you need the scanning tolerances to be so small? What are you trying to find?
I just want to be sure. It's not like we're doing much these days anyway. The glory days are over. Why not give ourselves a challenge before they write us off in the history books?
I know what I'm seeing, Victor. The data coming back from the satellites is very clear. It's the grav drives.
All those jumps from the moon. At this rate, Earth's atmosphere is going to start sputtering out into space.
Can the drives be fixed?
I'm working on some designs that should discreetly solve the problem, under the guise of an emergency update to the fueling pumps.
We're talking about the end of Earth, and you're trying to be subtle about it.
Judith, the last thing we need is people losing faith in grav drive technology. That might be our only option.
To what? Are you seriously saying we should abandon Earth?
The timeline is under 50 years. A blink of an eye for a planet, but more than enough time for a human exodus.
And what do we tell people?
We say it's an act of God, one that science has found a solution for. Time for humanity to take its place in the stars.
You know.
My name is Dr. Victor Isa. And if you're listening to this, then you probably already know the truth. I was young when I first headed the retrieval team of an odd gravitational anomaly on Mars. But I kept what really happened that day hidden from everyone except one other person. Even she didn't believe me at first. But I have no reason to lie to anyone now, so I hope you'll accept this confession, whoever you are. When I touched the anomaly, I experienced 12 days of lost time. I met myself. He told me everything that has since come true. The grav drive equations, the tests on the moon, Earth's atmosphere sputtering away because of what we had done. But he also told me about a city thriving on a planet orbiting a distant star. Human culture, art, music, lifestyles evolving and shining brightly across all of space. What price would I be willing to pay for that future? Maybe you don't believe me. Maybe Judith was right and I'm just a coward who wants to believe his mistakes were justified. But everyone has forgotten about the real origins of the grav drive, this artifact from Mars. I hope you make better use of it than I did.
Jetpacks are the more traditional solution.
We've arrived on the surface of Earth. We need to discuss what you found.
And it looks like other Starborn got here before us. So, you might have company. Pray we do not catch you. Your death failed. Just continue.
Hey! I'm waiting here. got some time to kill. You're gonna wear yourself out if you carry all this stuff. Okay. Well, I've had that effect on people before.
Do you understand now why I asked you to come here? The artifacts unlocked the secret of interstellar travel, at the cost of Earth.
An easy trade, honestly. Why have one world when you can have all the settled systems? Assuming we weren't going to lose it anyway. War, disease, famine, all the classics.
Don't you see? The power of the artifact forced humanity to the stars. They didn't get to make a choice. How many would have chosen Earth? What gave Victor Isa the right to choose for them?
You see the hypocrisy in what the emissary is saying, right? They don't want to rob people of their free will, but then they steal the artifacts for themselves.
In the wrong hands, the power of the artifacts can make anyone a tyrant. That's why we watch over them. The only thing you're watching out for is yourself.
Don't be a fool. The emissary and I may have our differences, but you do not want to give us a common enemy.
For once, he's right. Don't do this. We can collect the final pieces together.
Well, look at that. The emissary just became my new best friend.
You've made your choice. When you're ready, the Hunter and I will be at the buried temple. That's where we'll settle things.
Meaning, we'll kill you. But hey, at least we'll wait. The final round doesn't start until there's only one artifact left to gather. And if I'm not mistaken, Constellation has one or two to go.